Good morning. It is 10:33 a.m. on Saturday, October 16th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Leaning slightly over to the side so that I don't disturb my dog, who is sleeping on the base of my microphone stand. I think you'll probably be able to hear me okay. So I just got up because I stayed up late last night watching another movie marathon with on the Twitch channel Film Crit Hulk. This is the second time they've done that, and I've enjoyed it both times. It's basically just a bunch of people watching a curated selection of movies and talking about it in the channel chat. That's all it is, but lots of fun. I had fun the last time we did it, and then this time it was all horror movies, or all Halloween spoopy movies, at least there, because one of the movies we watched was What We Do in the Shadows, which not especially scary. Would you even call it a horror movie? No, not really. It's borrowing from horror movie tropes, but it's certainly a comedy still. So the movie, I was not able to stay up late enough to watch like the entirety of the marathon, but it included, started with Cat People, and then hang on, I'm trying to remember the exact order. No, Cat People, then Little Shop of Horrors, and then What We Do in the Shadows was fourth. No, okay, sorry. I didn't plan that. I'm not reading from a list. Cat People, Little Shop of Horrors, Tremors, What We Do in the Shadows, Raw, and then The Thing, and that's all I was able to watch. Although my understanding is that after that they watched a movie called Hausu, which is a Japanese horror movie, I think, and then The Descent, and then Slumber Party Massacre 2. Um, but yeah, I couldn't stay up for all of that. Or, I could, but it would have, I did the cost benefit analysis of how it would affect my day and decided not to. But in any case, the movies that I had not seen before this marathon, I had not seen Cat People and I had not seen Raw. And boy, whew, so Cat People is very interesting as like a cinema classic, because I think it's from like 1942. I want to say I didn't look it up, but it's somewhere in that era. It's in black and white, and it's interesting because it does a lot of what we have come to think of as horror tropes that were not as common at that time and kind of popularized there. And it has some of the things like some jump scares and use of loud sounds and that sort of thing. And it's pretty good, I think, in terms of being what we think of as a modern horror movie. It's the closest I've seen any movie that old come to, which is pretty good. Like, it's not got gore in the way that we think of it now. And it does have a slightly confusing mythology, and it certainly does that old Hollywood thing of shorthanding a developing relationship by implying that two people fall in true love and get married after 2 dates. But it's one of those things where you're not really meant to take that literally, but it doesn't really present you with any direct evidence that it's not literal. Yeah. But a lot of old movies do that. In any case, it's pretty good, and I was impressed by it and definitely glad to see it. But boy, the movie that I hadn't seen yet that really just knocked my socks off was Raw, which is a French movie from a woman director. And without getting too much into the details of what it's about, I would say the premise is that a girl is leaving home to attend a veterinary school that is the same one that her sister attends, and I guess just weird things happen, I'll say. It's a very intense movie, so it's for sure not for the squeamish. But it's also different than what you might be expecting when I say that. and it's hard to explain without spoiling stuff that, I was just talking the other day about how I think spoilers are not so much of a big deal. And I think that's still largely true. But again, sometimes, especially with horror, the idea of a surprise, like there are things that happen in that movie that I think the impact would have been lessened if I knew. But yeah, um, especially since that's a movie where it repeatedly does things different than what I'll kind of start thinking I know where it's going, and then it'll go a different way. And so, anyway, so if you are into intense horror movies that are not for the squeamish, Raw is one of those. And I liked it to the extent that you like those movies. And I mean, I do, but it's intense. So it's a qualified like in the context of it's kind of like saying you liked a really intense roller coaster, for example, right? It's a different than saying that you liked a funny TV show. All right. In any case, I'm going to leave it there, and I will talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.